Got the route?
Yes, 2.5 hours. So it's a little bit longer, cutting out one of the tolls, but we might get a little bit of traffic going to Lyon, so we'll go the slow road.
All right.
See if it's any better. Did you get my glasses?
No, I did not get my glasses. Oh, look at that. All the agave fields. It's tequila country. Goodness. And a really crappy road. So we've had a discussion this week and about actually spending the first year or so RVing in Mexico. I was actually thinking about it the other day that before we left Australia, you and I had both done separately to each other really extensive travelling through the outback of Australia. We've seen a lot of Australia, through the guts of Australia that most people don't ever get to see. It's really nice to sort of see your own backyard, I guess, and we've been living here on and off for quite a few years now. And Mexico is just such a diverse country. You know, you have mountains with forests and things like that, and then you get down to the beaches, and it's just so incredible. So we have been thinking that it would be a bit easier to get a trailer down here in Mexico.
The easier part is the possible legalities of imports and what the registration, where the registration is held, and all that kind of stuff. That's easier for sure. That's why we always knew it was going to be a Mexican plated truck that we would be buying. The not so easy part is actually, which is what I've been saying the whole time. I've been saying it to anybody who's been asking. It's like, oh no, we won't bring the trailer down from the US because we won't drive the trailer in, tow a trailer in Mexico because you got the topes and there's the little towns that you have to go through that they're just not designed for big vehicles. But then we finally started looking at some YouTube videos of people that have actually done motorhomes, or even when they do those organized caravans, meaning like multiple vehicles traveling around Mexico
together.
And just seeing that there was all types of vehicles. There were fifth wheelers, there were travel trailers, there were motorhomes towing vehicles. So I don't know, I just started to loosen up a little bit, I think, about the idea of actually towing a trailer. And
I think for me it was about knowing that if there are any RV parks here, because you just never see people towing a trailer down here, or
not like you do in Australia and no doubt in US and Canada.
US and Canada, it's just not a thing down here. So when we started watching some of these YouTube videos, they were going to some of these RV parks that had hookups and things like that, and I was like, oh wow, they actually do exist, and they're in really beautiful places. They're right on the beach, and you can stay as long as you like, and they're really, really cheap to stay at. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a possibility now for us to do this.
What an apprenticeship. I mean, what an apprenticeship into RVing.
You can RV in Mexico on these roads.
Yeah.
You can dead set RV anywhere.
Even just getting used to, being in an RV park, because they're not ideal. Like, they have them, yes, and they're in great locations, yes, but they're not ideal with, the electricity. They've got the wrong ampage. They've got, different sort of...
The water's not as high. Yeah. You can't drink the water here, so we still have to get drinking water like we normally do.
So there's a lot of little quirks that will make it interesting. And then even with navigating, the speed bumps and the smaller towns, like if we have to go through them.
And we wouldn't boondock here either.
No,
I think for security reasons, we wouldn't do that.
And
so
the tolls.
We would have to go to an RV park, and the tolls are beyond ridiculous here. Like, believe it or not, anything from $2 up to
40 or 50.
Yep, $40 for one toll.
Yeah,
like, insane. Some states are ridiculous, like Jalisco. So we will be limiting how much we travel. So I think that's the thing. We started to then talk about how would we then travel around Mexico? What would that look like? We're both feeling to actually stay at an RV park, like find a really good RV park with a really nice location, get set up, and actually just stay there for a period of time, maybe a month or 2 months. And obviously, the longer we stay, the cheaper it's going to be as well in the RV park. But it'll just keep us a little bit more settled.
And not only the sort of staying a bit more settled for a couple of months, but unhitching a trailer. Then you got your vehicle to just go and do other things with, so that we can go and do other trips and while leaving the van behind. And that's the other side, is the accommodation is really cheap here as well.
Yes.
Whereas if we did that in the States, we would probably have to be in the RV all the time because accommodation is so much more expensive.
Yeah, we can
Canada
go
as
and get
well.
a $30 room for the night, and it's actually really decent.
Yeah.
So it makes it possible to take little trips away from the RV for 3-4 nights, whatever, and go and see other parts around that area. So that's what we're thinking. So because we're going to travel like that,
Yep.
what are we doing today?
So about 2 hours and 20 minutes away from where we live, there's a reseller or an agent. I wouldn't actually call it a dealership, but I think it's just a guy
Or an agent.
who's collecting RVs. And he's advertised a couple that I think may be a bit too long for us, but we're going to go and have a look. I definitely would like to stick to as small as possible.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be buying in Mexico, that might not be, we're not getting a lot of choice, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, there's a lot less choice here, of course. So we're going to see some bigger ones today. They're about 26 foot, 24 foot, and compare that. That may be a really bad thing to be doing, but we're going to at least, because I don't think I've ever, I have stood in a caravan, but not very many, that's for sure. So I really would like to just stand in them and see, okay, what would life look like in this van? You know, where do we work? Where do we sleep? How do we prepare food? Is there enough bench space? And, you know, what's the bathroom like? So this is all the compromises, I guess. We go a smaller van, we probably have to have a wet bathroom as opposed to a dry bathroom. So that means everything gets wet when you have a shower.
The other thing is that Mexico on a whole has pretty good weather. If we know what the weather's going to be, we're not going to have a lot of time huddled up and sitting inside.
Good. The whole idea of this whole trip is to be outside and be in nature a lot more. So that will be, whoa.
And that's
Unmarked.
a 𝗪𝗘𝗍.
That's an unmarked speed hump, otherwise known as a 𝗪𝗘𝗍.
Not a sign, not a anything.
Oh, this is the thing that we're going to have to watch in Mexico and go really slow.
Yeah.
It's bad enough in a car, but you can imagine in a trailer hitting some of these speed humps that are just literally not marked because they're built by the locals and they just don't paint them. So it's
That second one
really
had a
difficult.
sign, but the first one didn't.
First one, totally unmarked, looks like just bitumen until you get right to it.
Yeah.
So really difficult. So this is going to be fun. So here is inside one of them. I think this is about 25 foot. I do like having the dinette and the lounge and the recliners with a massive window. That is an awesome design. So this is a slide out, but it's pretty cool. It's a little bit dated with its decor, but plenty of bench space. And then it goes through, you actually walk through the bathroom, nice shower, into the bedroom, the boudoir. Nice leather couches and stuff, that's alright. I think she could be spruced. Jodie's are like, oh, it's a bit old and daggy, so I don't know. Anyway, we're still looking. This is 26 foot, so this is, or 25 foot, this is probably the maximum that we would do. This is really huge. So this is the other one. Nice bathroom, big size.
This one has an oven.
Oh, it's got an oven. Oh wow. Well, that's pretty clean on top.
Yeah.
24 foot.
It's got the width for the queen, for sure. You can even go a little bit wider if you needed to.
Yeah, I reckon we
From
could
their
go,
perspective.
we could actually put a king size
Yeah,
in there because it's just a shelf though.
yeah. I like this one.
Do you? Bit dated,
Yeah, but that's
Doesn't
easy
need a
fix.
big spruce up.
How's it feel?
I can see over the bonnet, so that's good. Nice car. This is 2500.
So we just got home after our 300 kilometre round trip to go and actually physically stand inside of a travel trailer.
That's pretty good to do that.
Again, we call them caravans in Australia, but anyway. So it was good. The guy there was really helpful. He actually imports them from the States, and there's a bit of a legal process with regards to that. So we've just got to do a little bit more research on whether we'll be able to actually drive that same trailer out of Mexico. But we'll talk about that in the next video because we've got a few things we need to weigh up before we get to a decision.
Yes. So funnily enough, on that journey, on the way home, just near the caravan or the RV place, was whole bunches of car yards just on the side of the road. So we also got to see lots of different models that we've considered. Maybe we can get your input. If you have any experience at all about RVing, this is probably where we need it. We're trying to decide between a travel trailer, which is a caravan, tow behind van, and also a truck camper. So a truck camper, we can show it up on the screen here now, basically sits on the bed of the truck.
Yeah, but it can slide out and it can be left at an RV park on its little 4 spindly legs.
Very spindly legs, which is a little bit of a worry in itself, trying to back the truck up
and slide it back in
to put it back on again. A little nervous about that, I've got to be honest. So both of them are really good models. It comes down to the truck then. So because the truck camper sits on top of the truck, it means that we need a really good payload on the truck. So we were looking at a 1500,
which is a half ton.
Half ton. We're probably now looking at a 3/4 ton, a 2500 to get that around. So this is the difference. Obviously, they're more expensive cars, and they're also chew the juice a lot more with a 2500 as opposed to a 1500. So we have to really weigh that up. Do we want a truck camper? I like the truck campers because the bed sits over the top of the truck and just gives you a bigger bed, and it's sort of a really nice layout. I really like the layouts of the truck campers. Trailers, then we have to weigh up, are we getting slides? I'm all for slides because I like lots of space in the van.
But that creates more weight.
But then you got more weight.
And I think that at the length that we're looking at, and again, feedback on this is great, I would love to have something sort of no more than 22 feet long. And if that's got a slide, I think that a 1500 truck could carry that, could tow that. And if we end up getting the 2500 or the 3/4 ton, then we're definitely going to be able to tow that. Now, Nat's more inclined to look at sort of 24, 25 feet long because it gets that little bit of extra space. But we're just going to sit down and weigh up all of our pros and cons, and then in the next episode, we'll reveal whether we get to a decision or not. But that will sort of depend on what you guys give us feedback on as well. So ultimately, the two things we need you to make sure that you understand we are ruling out a motorhome or camper van, like literally where you drive and where you live all in one vehicle is just not our scene. We need to have freedom. And especially if we're going to just hang around in Mexico, for longer periods of time, we may just keep the trailer or the truck camper at the RV park, or pay for storage or whatever, and then just drive the vehicle to different things, because paying for accommodation is not too bad. We might even, head into Central America only with the car and a tent rather than take it like towing. We need to research all of that.
Yeah.
So please don't suggest motorhome or camper van. It's not our scene at all. We'll do that in Europe at some stage, but not for this part of the world. And we're also not interested in fifth wheelers, because even though in Australia you can get a fifth wheeler at around 23 feet long and have the cab over section be the bed part, and it weighs down on the truck, which means you need a more heavy duty truck as well. But you just can't get them in North America. Like they're like hen's teeth, even in Canada and the USA, to get a shorter fifth wheeler. Yep. Everything is about ginormous here. And Mexico is not the place where you want to be towing any sort of big vehicle. So we're still sort of in two minds about even towing, because obviously if you've got the actual truck, ute as we call it as Australian. So if the ute is about 18 or 19 foot long in total, and then if the trailer is another 22, then we're definitely 40 plus feet in total. and that is more than enough for us.
Long, there's some narrow roads here and narrow turn-ins and stuff. I can just imagine trying to get into some RV parks and things like that, trying to get around.
This is not an RV-friendly country. So we've made the decision to do the really hardcore apprenticeship in Mexico. And in the next video, we'll reveal why we're deciding to sort of start here with both Mexican vehicle and Mexican trailer. We don't even know when we'd be able to get up to the US if we have a Mexican trailer, because we've got to check out some legal stuff on that. And we'll explain all the reasons why we're sort of putting it off, and we're feeling a lot more comfortable with starting in Mexico.
Yeah, funnily enough, even though it's going to be more difficult, I guess we're just really familiar here, so we can get around, and we know we've literally travelled quite a lot of Mexico in our little car.
From coast to coast. So it's quite familiar for us to get around here in Mexico, and funnily enough, we probably feel more comfortable here than we do in the US, where everything's just gigantic and quite catering for RVs. But anyway, we'll let you know next video if we make a decision. There's a lot to consider. That's it.
100%.
So right now, I think we should just start weighing them all up.
Yep. In the meantime, I do have a date for going to Australia.
And she doesn't have a return ticket booked.
And if this one doesn't book me a return ticket, then I guess I'll just be living with my mum and dad forever. So that's good news. We're just going to go away for a week. It's mum and dad's 60th wedding anniversary. There's no news really from the surgeon at this stage. There's lots of complications, so we don't know when that will go ahead. And so he just said, go and enjoy yourself. Yep. So we're going to do that. We've got all of us coming together from different parts of the world. So that's going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. You'll still be here next week. So in the next episode, we're still here. And then after that, Nat will be gone to Australia. So look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Yep.
Where we let you know if we get to a decision or not.
Okay. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Even if she likes it, we can't have a red car.
This is really lovely.